exclusive information, Bitcoin will just deposited $70 million worth of Bitcoin into Binance. If this Bitcoin will sells, it will liquidate over $11 billion worth of long positions. What's gonna happen next with Bitcoin? I will reveal to you in this video. Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Salmon from Crypto Paradise, and if you want to first of all read more about this whale, you can do so by joining our MCP Extras free channel, where we are sharing with you exclusive insights on daily basis, and sometimes we even share with you something from our MCP Extras private membership, and these exclusive insights will help you to be a better trader and make much more professional trading decisions. But now back to Bitcoin. If you are subscribed here, you know that since January 30 I'm telling you that we are about to crash, and I told you two most important levels, and that is $77,000 and $44,000, and in between I've told you that we will have a small pullback. That's exactly what is happening right now. However, this pullback came in much more simpler version than we have been expecting, and we will be discussing what's happening right now and what's about to happen next, and why with the highest probability, the most likely, the highest probability scenario is right now something like this. So let's start with ultra high time frame chart, ladies and gentlemen. You know that $77,000 was already hit right here, and probably you are interested to hear if something changed by wicking about $93,000, and the answer is simple no. At the moment still we are on track with a downward bearish price action that will finish at around $44,000 and will finish down this Elliott wave cycle, and after that we will have a nice new impulse towards $200,000. You are probably questioning yourself, but how is it possible that you are calling for $44,000 when everybody else on social media and on Telegram is absolutely bullish and calling for a new bull market? Well, ladies and gentlemen, because I understand the kind of dynamics behind each and every single move. That is also the reason why, if you have been subscribed here together with me, we have been able to predict the bottom right here at $19,500 also on Telegram, and that is also the reason why we have been riding this whole move to the upside and then sold absolutely everything right here at the top near $109,000. If you have seen the previous videos, you know that right now we are moving inside of a zigzag formation, alright, and each and single wave in this zigzag formation that you are able to analyze absolutely perfectly if you are in our MCP free university on mycryptoparadise.com website. Each and every single of the wave inside of the zigzag formation creates a different emotions in the minds of retail, and right now we are in the B wave formation, and for this B wave formation is absolutely common to experience emotions like hope, denial, fear of missing out, overconfidence and bear fatigue. So most of the people don't understand the Elliott wave theory, and they still think that this is just a continuation of the previous uptrend, which, because we have been able to analyze each and every single wave, we understand that with the highest probability it isn't, right? And before we can continue and start a new trend that will push us above the previous all-time high, we need to form a special patterns and follow a certain cycles, ladies and gentlemen. And right now I do see behind the scenes that the emotions that are typical for the B waves in a downward zigzag formations are reflected pretty well in the market. Other than that, we also understand that the B waves are being pushed due to heavy leverage that is created by non-confirmations and mostly based on emotions. So if we take a look at our website and analyze the few things that are actually typical for the B wave, we can see very clearly, well, the heavy leverage is there, right? This is what's pushing the market. All these long positions that been opened have the liquidation levels visible, and you can very clearly see who is pushing the market. It's definitely retail over leveraged long positions, not some smart spot buying, ladies and gentlemen. If we take a look at liquidation heat map, we can see the similar thing. We can see a nice liquidation bright pools below us. There is one above us, and I will be telling you why this might be hit before we start moving to the downside. We will analyze this kind of thing, why technically this would be very appropriate, and with the highest probability it will actually happen. Together with that, we can see the accumulated funding rates. Look at that, it's even worse than a few days ago. Mostly we are in interested in Binance and OKX, as they are the biggest exchanges at the moment, and you can see OKX is absolutely over leveraged on the long side. And actually OKX and Binance are mostly the retail dominated exchanges, so looking at where the funding rates are on these particular exchanges is a very smart move, and we can see the longs are dominating there, which is bearish, right? Together with that, we can take a look at the trading sentiment again on our website that is tracking the activity among social sites like Bitcoin Talk, Reddit, Twitter. You can analyze there all the things we have been talking about. Together with that, the fear and greed index is at the all-time highs from the 6 months period, ladies and gentlemen. This is extremely overpushed already. You can see the social index, everything is extremely overpushed. However, the whales, they are not much interested, right? So that tells you something. So all of these data basically confirms that this is the B wave of a zigzag in fact, and that we are very soon about to move to the downside. Of course, as a professional traders, we need to have some invalidation levels because anything can happen. There can be some push of a new money inflow into the market, so we can actually go to the upside and even above the all-time high. But at the moment, from a professional trading perspective, this happening is very low probability. But again, as a professional traders, we need to be prepared for everything, and we need to be ready to make money on every single move that the market offers to us. Alright, now let's zoom in a little bit inside of the current price action. We will dive deeper in a minute. We will analyze closely the zigzag, the new formation that happened inside of this move on lower time frames. But first, I have something I want to share with you on ultra high time frame still. This is weekly time frame. That means that each and every single represents one weekly trading activity, ladies and gentlemen. You remember from the previous videos that I have told you, remember the rule of 5, okay? Every strong resistance or support on a 5th and 6th touch is mostly gonna fail to keep holding and starts to letting the price go over it. As you can see, what we have been anticipating in the previous videos was, however, that we will need to have a little push to the downside first to reload our bullets, right? But as you can see, we have pushed over it, and on the 5th touch it broken to the upside. How can you understand it with a nice analogy? Is like somebody is pushing and smashing a wall with a hammer, right? So every time you smash the wall with a hammer, it's get weaker and weaker, and finally you get through it. And in the crypto market, the rule is most of the times that the 5th and 6th touch is going to break the resistance or the support, ladies and gentlemen. So something good to remember. Then we have been also taking a look at the RSI. Remember that we are quite closely following the price action that was happening in the year of 2021, when we also been able to analyze perfectly the impulse, and then with this rising wedge, aka ending diagonal, and upcoming crash. So if you have been in our Telegram channels in free, we have been updating you as well about this. And as you can see, we have dropped also by 55%, retesting the 0.619 Fibonacci retracement level. Remember this level, we will be talking about this one again very soon. This is most important Fibonacci retracement level, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are using it in your own trading, make sure that you are paying the most of the attention to this one, because it's the strongest of the one from the Fibonacci sequence. As you can see right now, however, what we are interested in is to take in a look at the RSI indicator. And you remember from the previous videos, I've told you that after the 3rd touch, and that's another rule for the support and resistance, that's 5th to 6th touches, when you are trying to understand the major rejection from RSI moving average line, you are usually taking a look and waiting for a 3rd touch, okay? So let's take a look, because this is also something that helped us in 2021 to determine that we are about to crash, okay? So look, so firstly, we have crashed below this moving average trend line for a first time, right? And then we have started with the retests. So right here we have crashed, then we have retested for a first time, then right here we have retested for a second time, and then for a 3rd time, and that was right here, and then we started the crash, right? So something similar is going to happen in 2025 as well. As you can see, we have got the first retest right here, and it seems like that the second retest was right here in February. However, it was not that clear, because as you can see, we have not really retested that level. We have just went a bit closer to it, but with the highest probability, this was the second retest, okay? And right now, because we have been anticipating that this final touch, which will synergize with this $93,000 resistance, this is probably the 3rd touch, ladies and gentlemen, and very soon we will start rejecting from it, and we actually get the major rejection, push the RSI to oversold zone right here, that will nicely synergize with that $44,000, and then we will start moving to the upside. So that's what I'm seeing on a weekly time frame right now. This is what I would like to see. Also, we are closing weekly time frame candle in around 3 days and 8 hours, and I just want to mention that I would really like to see the candle close below $93,000. If we will close above $93,000, it will decrease the probabilities of moving to the downside, and we will need to reanalyze this. However, right now, by zooming in, let's zoom in inside of this B wave, ladies and gentlemen, we can understand that the probabilities are on the bearish side, okay? So let's take a look. We will also understand the reason why we have pushed through this moving average trend line without going lower. It was actually because we have been forming this contracting triangle that we will be talking about. At the moment, we can clearly see that we are flirting with this key high time frame resistance zone, ladies and gentlemen, and actually we have created the ABC upward zigzag. In this formation, we will be breaking that down on medium time frame. However, right here, I want to share with you just the fact that we are at the key high time frame resistance zone. We are also at the previous fourth wave of the impulse that the higher degree A wave, I'm talking about this one, was created in. And if you understand Elliott wave theory, this is most of the times where the deep correction ends, okay? However, we will be also talking about the 618 Fibonacci level that can be touched during extensions of the zigzags, okay? Right now, however, this is very important to understand that right here at these resistances, everybody is calling for a new bull trend, right? However, by looking at the RSI indicator first, we can see a clear hidden bearish divergence because the price is creating equal high, but the RSI indicator is creating higher high, okay? So this is a classic textbook example of hidden bearish divergence. The price can be either lower high or equal high for the hidden bearish divergence to be intact, ladies and gentlemen. If we take a look at our stochastic RSI, we can see that we are clearly for a prolonged period of time extremely overbought. Last time we have been at these levels for some time, we have been crashing very soon afterwards, right here for example, then right here, etc. Okay, multiple examples. Together with that, we can also take a look at the volume, and we can see a clear volume divergence with the price as well. As you can see, the price is making higher high, however the volume that we have created is creating lower high. So these are all the signs that decreasing the probabilities of creating a new bull trend, and it just keeps playing into the cards of just a B, higher degree B pullback formation before going lower. Okay, let's zoom in right now in this ABC zigzag formation by analyzing it on our medium time frame, ladies and gentlemen, and let's answer the question where this C wave will finish and when we can finally start correcting. So there's multiple ways of how to analyze it. First of all, let me break down for you the Elliott waves right here. In previous videos, I have been trying to break down this into an impulse itself. However, the impulse was already finished right here. This was the first wave, second wave, third wave, fourth wave, and fifth wave was created right here. That is our A wave of a zigzag, right? After that, we have started the B wave of a zigzag that took a formation of contracting triangle. I have been trying to fit that inside of an ending diagonal again because I've been thinking of more complex correction, something like this, but in the end it finished as a very simple one, and it seems like the C wave is going to finish soon. So right here we have been creating a contracting triangle that subdivides itself into 5 smaller waves. Again, if you are in our website and you are learning because you want to get better, you know that the triangles, the contracting triangles, are subdividing itself into 5 smaller waves. Each one subdivides itself into a corrective mode waves. Mostly it's a zigzag. I will not be breaking that for you down right now because it would take too much of a time, but beautiful 5 waves were created. Here we have finished the B wave, and then we have started a new impulse that we will be breaking down on a lower time frame. First of all, let's analyze where the C wave can finish. So as a professional traders, we have multiple ways of how we can determine where the C wave is going to finish. First of all, we can create a great channel. From the bottom of the wave A, we create a trend line and connect it with the bottom of the B wave. Then we copy the slope of that trend line, create a parallel channel, put it to the top of the wave A, okay? And we can see that we are beautifully already retesting that ascending trend line, ladies and gentlemen. And one of the guidelines is that the same way you are waiting for the resistances and supports to be broken on a fifth touch, the RSI you are waiting for a third touch. For the parallel channels, you're actually looking for one, maximum two touches, okay? If this second touch that I believe will finish at around $97,000 will break above it, okay, something is wrong and the count is different. However, after we will take a look inside of the C wave, you will be seeing that on your own eyes. Another way of how to understand when the zigzag formation is about to finish is by having a look at the previous A wave, okay? So this was our previous impulse that the A wave was created in, and as you know, the zigzags usually retrace 50% at least because they are deep corrections of the previous impulse. So this was the impulse, downward impulse, right? And here we have a 50% mark. If it goes above 50% mark, then it can have the extension and it can even go towards that 620 Fibonacci extension level. Let's take a look what happened. So let's measure the A wave. We can see that it dropped by around 32%. Let's right now calculate how much of it we have already retraced, and we can see that we have retraced more than 50% already, right? And we are not stopping because we can understand that this impulse that we will be breaking down is not finished yet, okay? So because of that, we will take a look at the extension, okay? So we will put a Fibonacci retracement tool from the upside to the downside, and we can see that the 618 Fibonacci retracement level is right here at around $96,000, ladies and gentlemen, and that nicely confluence with the touch of the ascending trend line, ladies and gentlemen, and with the highest probability after we will touch it, we will start moving to the downside. Are we about to have enough fuel to go to the upside? Well, right now, as you can see, we are forming an exaggerated bullish divergence, so probably yes. I would not be interested in going aggressively short right here for multiple reasons. One of them is this bullish divergence. As you can see, the price is making higher low, however the indicator, in this case RSI indicator, is making equal low. This is exaggerated bullish divergence, ladies and gentlemen. What I want to see actually is to go above this previous high, okay, retest this channel, and by that we will retest the moving average trend line of this RSI, and also we will create a bearish divergence, okay? So as we go to this level, I want to see exhaustion. That means not enough volume, okay? It's already declining, but together with that, I also want to see a bearish divergence, okay? And if that happens, we will go with Paradise and VIPs very aggressively into short positions. Together right now with that, we can also see that the histogram on MACD is having a bullish divergence, and also we can see that the stochastic RSI is oversold right now. So I want all these indicators to be cooled down, and right here on RSI, probably also on MACD histogram, I want to see divergence, and that will be one of the confirmations for us that we will be starting to take aggressive short positions right here. Alright, what about some other confirmations? We can take a look at low time frame right now, ladies and gentlemen. Another confirmation of where the C wave is going to finish is by looking at the length of the A wave, and if you put it to the start of the C wave, it could actually be same length, okay? So that's another guideline. If the pattern is following as much guidelines as possible, that's just increasing the probabilities. The more guidelines you get, the higher probability your trade's gonna have, and then based on that you can calculate the risk you will be taking on your position. So as you can see, the same length will end at around $96,000, alright? So one of the guidelines is that the A wave is same length as the C wave. Another thing we can analyze, this was then an impulse, right? And the C wave is usually also impulse, and we can actually calculate the waves. This was the first wave, second wave, third wave. That is very usually the most impulsive one, and that's why it goes above this ascending trend line channel. And right now we are forming the fifth wave, and as you can see, it will nicely touch this ascending trend line and also the trend line of this new impulse that I have created, the way that I have connected the bottom of the first wave with the second wave, and then again I have just copied that and put that slope at the beginning of the second wave and the end of the first wave, ladies and gentlemen. And as you can see, the dots are perfectly connecting right here at around $96,000. $1,000. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so this is what I want to see right now. Of course, we are trading with a great money management with Paradise MVIPs, but right now the market seems to be much more clearer than before. So new trading opportunities are aligning. Of course, when you are not having most of the probabilities on your side, the best thing to do as a professional trader is to risk very small or no trade or not trade at all. Alright, that's what differs the professional traders from the losers that are all the time trying to be in an action. Your goal should be long-term consistency and step-by-step progress, not trying to get rich quick. Okay, as you know, I'm recording videos every Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday, so again I will see you on Saturday and I will update for you the price action. If you are not in our Paradise VIP, where we are updating you with our personal trading setups and also insights on daily basis, I will see you again on Saturday. Cheers.